Welcome back, everyone. This time I have for you a review for the final toy released under the Power of the Primes brand name. This is Deluxe Class Wreck-Gar. And Wreck-Gar is interesting because he is a retool of the Deluxe Combiner Wars Groove, though he is now sporting the new Prime armor from Power of the Primes and the axe weapon that his Reveal the Shield figure came with years ago. So he's kind of a hodgepodge of different toy lines, which is it's interesting. It's fun, actually. You don't really see Hasbro mix it up like that, so it's pretty cool to see. He's pretty brightly colored. He's got this kind of burnt orange, a lot of dark brown, some black on him. He's got red on his wheels. Pretty nice. Got a big open windshield, the Autobot symbol on it. Got his kickstand to hold him up. Yes, you can see his hands in this vehicle mode. It is pretty distracting. It's probably my least favorite thing about this mold. This weapon arrangement that I have him in is actually what is recommended by the instructions. It's kind of cluttered looking, kind of odd, but that is the official way you're supposed to store his weapons. I have seen some other people come up with, some more creative ways to do it. One way I saw that looks a little bit cleaner is something like this. You attach prime armor to the rear end here, and then his weapon attaches to where the little axe head bit kind of overlaps his back tire, which is kind of similar to how it worked on the Revenge of the Fallen figure. Reveal the Shield figure. On that toy, this actually formed his hubcap, and I think this was like his exhaust, so it's pretty interesting. And I think that looks a little bit better than just having everything kind of stacked on the top like that. Here we have Wreck-Gar with his two mold mates. You have the original version of the mold, Groove, as well as Afterburner from Computron. Yes, it's Afterburner. I don't care what your copyright tells me. I do not recognize your copyright's authority. And you can see, despite being part of the same mold, they're all pretty different, between the accessories, the fact that Afterburner has this kind of extended futuristic canopy. It is really neat to feel like they're not all just the same exact toy. Granted, both Afterburner and Wreck-Gar are primarily orange, but they're pretty different shades of orange. Wreck-Gar's has more of a burnt quality to it. So it is cool getting more of these motorcycle combiner type transformers. So it's nice to have some variety with the vehicle modes. They're not all just cars and jets. Here's Wreck-Gar's character card. It's got this artwork of him looking just way too happy to be charging into battle. You can see on here, top of his head actually has like some sort of a windshield going on, like you would expect it to. Fortunately, the final product doesn't have that. But this is a Micronus version of the card. Makes a Micronus Wreck-Gar, and he power links to share his ability to take damage and instantly reform. I'd say that's pretty handy. Here we've got Wreck-Gar's robot mode. You can see he's wielding his axe weapon as well as the prime armor there. He's not a bad looking figure by any means. His head is quite a bit too small for his body, but it is necessary because of the whole combiner gimmick. It's got to be able to fit down in that cavity there. One thing that's kind of silly about this toy is that he's got, the front end of his motorcycle hanging off his back, and his head is also shaped like the front end of a motorcycle because on the original toy, his head made up the front of the motorcycle. Those little handlebars were actually the handlebars, so it's pretty redundant. A little silly, but not that big a deal. I do like his colors. They do remind me of the original 80s toy. One thing that does bother me a little bit is because of the way his fists are molded to be closed fists like that, and the way the handle of his axe is shaped, he has to hold like the very end of the handle, which isn't very practical. Normally you grasp it right around here, which the original toy could. So it looks a little less awkward. Not the end of the world, but I don't like that he holds it that high up like that. It looks weird. Now, is this guy a perfect recreation of the original, character model or figure? No, not even. I mean, he's not really meant to be. He's more of just a little bonus. He's really just Groove with a different head. But for anyone that doesn't have the Reveal the Shield version, this is a nice substitute. I know a lot of people prefer that version of this one. Me personally, I actually prefer the blockiness of this toy because it reminds me more of the original one, how very boxy and rough looking the original figure was. It kind of evokes that a little more than the very sleek, almost alien Reveal the Shield figure, which I don't have to show you, unfortunately. Here he is with Afterburner and Groove again, just so you can see how they stack up in the robot modes. It is nice to see how differences in paint layout can help make figures of the same mold appear different from one another. Now, admittedly, I wish there was a little more variation in their paint layouts. I mean, they all have like knees painted the same way, upper arms. Well, I guess the upper arms are different, but I don't know. These are all pretty fun, pretty unique uses of this mold. So, don't know if I really have a favorite. Groove does come with more, so I guess he kind of wins on that front. For anyone who's curious, I do have the Combiner Wars Legends class version of Wreck-Gar, just so you can see the improvement. And it's kind of funny because both of these guys are based off of a mold that was originally Groove. Groove came out as a Legends class first, got a Wreck-Gar retooling, and then the Deluxe Groove was actually starting Unite Warriors, Japanese side, finally got brought over by Hasbro almost completely unchanged from the Japanese version. And then 2 toy lines later, finally gets turned into Wreck-Gar. So it's pretty cool. It's a long time waiting, but we finally got him as a proper combiner limb. And speaking of combiner limb, last thing we're going to look at is Wreck-Gar's limb mode. So I brought some friends along to help out with that. And here's Wreck-Gar in his limb mode. You can see he's attached to the unnamed Inferno combiner. This particular configuration that I have him in is actually the configuration that Inferno's little side art on his box and on Wreck-Gar's box actually have it. The only unknown variable was which robot makes up his right arm because it's completely cut off on the art. But given the fact that Wreck-Gar is shown specifically to belong to Inferno, it's not too much of a stretch to assume that he makes up that right arm. So this is as close to an official combination as you can get for this combiner, and doesn't look too bad, honestly. It is weird that his legs are dinosaurs, but he comes off looking really sturdy. One thing I like is that you can see Wreck-Gar's axe can actually be held pretty well by his combiner hand, because you can just plug the end of it into his, I guess what would be almost his pinky, his 6th finger on the bottom. So he's not holding it too far out, looking all awkward. It actually looks pretty good. It's a little small for a combiner weapon, but this is probably the best place you're going to find to put that thing in combine mode. But anyway, that's really all there is to see for Wreck-Gar. He was a big surprise when he first got leaked on a Russian website. It is cool that we do have a more modern take on the character. Nice little plus that he works so well with the rest of the Power of the Primes toy line. Perhaps one day we'll get a new unique mold Wreck-Gar, but this one serves, quite well for now. But what do you think of this toy? Do you think he was worth the wait? He is a Walgreens exclusive. They seem to do about one every year, so maybe a little harder to track down than most people would like. You gotta go search in your nearest Walgreens, hope they have them. For me, I'm never gonna turn my nose up at, extra combiner limbs and figures of characters we haven't gotten in a while. So let me know what you thought of the review down below. If you liked the review, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of what I put out, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And with all that said, I will see you all next time.